Are you above average financially? These days, many people feel like they're not doing financially well no matter how much money they make. This is all thanks to social media and influencers who seem to be living a perfect life. However, we're going to look at some facts that will help you know if you're actually doing financially better than you think. So don't go around stressing around because these facts will shock you. How to know if you're above average financially? As you already know, appearances can be quite deceiving. You've probably seen several social media posts of people living the high life, but to be honest, these people do not have as much money as they claim. In fact, some are even struggling to make ends meet. There are several such cases around in the United States. Think of it like this. Let's say there are two ways of measuring how well a person is doing financially. The first is through status, while the second is through wealth. Most people feel like they're doing financially bad, but in reality, they're not. The only reason why they feel this way is because they're focused on status. Measuring your financial stability through status is like a competition of who has better stuff. For instance, who has a fancy car or a bigger house. But the problem with this method is that it is just a facade with no end. It is always changing because you're comparing yourself to what you see on social media. Let's say you buy an expensive car. It only makes you look and feel good if no one else has that car. But when everyone has it, it loses its worth. You're constantly comparing yourself to others. The people you're comparing yourself to might not be as rich as you think, but it doesn't matter. Sometimes you even make bad financial choices just to feel among others. This only hurts you in the long run. On the other hand, measuring your financial stability through how much wealth you have and not by showing off means you're truly doing well. It's what's happening behind the scenes that matters. How much money you have saved up, in investments and in your business. This method is about building a foundation for financial freedom and living life on your own terms. If you truly want to know if you're doing better than average financially, check how much wealth you've gathered. Don't look at what others are spending on. Look inward, the things that generate income for you, and how much you have saved up. Then ask yourself, am I playing the right money game? While you're searching for the answer to that question, here are some financial statistics that will blow your mind. 57% of Americans don't have up to $1,000 of emergency savings. In the United Kingdom, 40% of people don't have enough money saved to cover 1 month of living costs if they lose their jobs. This means that a lot of people are not prepared for unexpected financial troubles. If you think that's crazy, 20% of Americans don't have savings at all. So if you have up to $1,000 saved up for emergencies, you're ahead of 60% of the population. These numbers aren't great at all. It's important to prepare ahead for emergencies because they can happen at any time, and they will definitely happen. So saving up for such situations should be a top priority. Ideally, you should aim to have around 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses saved up. If you have a very secure job, you can aim for around 3 to 4 months of expenses saved up. However, if you're not too sure of your job, you might want to aim for anywhere around 6 to 12 months, as this would give you enough time in case you lose your job. This might sound like a lot of money, but it is for your own good. Also, keep in mind that this money is different from your investment money, so try to make it easily accessible in case of emergencies. You don't need to jumpstart at once. Having 1 month of your expenses saved up is a huge step. From there, you can keep on growing your emergency savings. 1 in 3 Americans has zero savings for retirement. This might sound shocking, but it is true. Around 33% of Americans have no money saved up for when they retire. After retiring, you'll need money for things like food, rent, and other bills. If you don't have money kept aside for this, you might have to rely on others for support. But this is usually a huge burden for whoever is providing that support. Plus, it's not a great idea. So it's ideal to start thinking of how to set money aside now. Start saving for retirement now, even if it's just a small amount. Don't spend money recklessly. If you're saving around 5 to 10% of the money you're making now, you're doing better than most people. It's also worth it because the more money you invest now, the better your life will be when you get older. 50% of Americans use credit cards to cover regular expenses. An average American household has around $6,000 in credit card debt. This adds up to around $930 billion in total, meaning that there are nearly around $1 trillion of credit card debt across the country. What will blow your mind even more is that younger people are the ones who often use credit cards to cover their living expenses. Credit cards aren't bad per se as long as you use them responsibly and pay the balance every month. However, you cannot gain true financial freedom when you own credit card debt. Research has shown that people tend to spend more when using credit cards. They also make it easier to spend more than you have, and you might end up deep in debt without realizing it, which of course is not a good thing. Most people are taking on more and more credit card debt to protect their fancy lifestyle. So if you're not owing any credit card debt and you have some money saved up, you're doing better than a lot of people. How to be financially satisfied. Now that you have a clue of how well you're doing financially, how much money should you be making to be satisfied financially? According to Forbes, the average salary in the US is $59,428. While this is a good amount, it doesn't really determine how you might feel about your own income. In reality, your social circle is what determines the amount that will make you feel financially comfortable. If you're earning more than your friends, you'll probably feel happy about it. But if they're earning better than you might become unhappy and unsatisfied. This is the same as the status method of examining your financial situation. It's a never-ending circle that keeps going on and on. If you earn more, you're happy. If your friends earn more, you're not. So how then do you free yourself from this cycle of never-ending discontent? Well, it has to do with what we call society versus individual success. Basically, our idea of how successful we are is often influenced by what society expects and how we compare ourselves to the people around us. This is also known as peer pressure. The mistake most people make in life is measuring success by how many fancy cars, huge mansions, and designer clothes one has. This is all thanks to social media. But you must also know the reality of things. You're probably doing better than all those people you see with fancy things. Measure your financial success by how much you earn, how much you have saved up, and how much you have invested. There's no need to show off. Don't do things for other people to talk about. You can never satisfy other people. They will always have something to say, and that should not bother you. Instead, do things for yourself. Do what will help you grow and reach financial freedom. Think of it as having to choose between being really good at something, but everyone thinks you're bad at it, or being bad at it, but everyone thinks you're great. It's like asking whether you'd rather be at the top of the social ladder, even if you're not really there, or be in the middle, but know you're the best according to your own standards. It's about valuing your own progress more than what others think. Essentially, it's choosing between being fake with your life or being honest and true to yourself. Conclusion: it's time to change our perspective on success, value our own standards, and break free from society's expectations. In the end, true satisfaction comes from understanding that your financial journey is unique and that your definition of success matters most. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to this, hit that like button, and turn on the notification bell to get notified anytime we post amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.